Hello, 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 hello. Hi. MarthaCreek.com to contact me. Very excited about this topic today. It is encouraging me and hopefully you to choose and to choose again to live and to express from our highest self. Um, our upper consciousness, the seat of consciousness. Other words, the upper chambers, the inner chamber. So, how would you describe your highest self? What are the qualities of your highest self, for example? So, this comes from a work called No Bad Parts, and the author is Richard Schwartz. And he speaks about this in terms of leading from ourselves, our highest selves. And I'm so inspired by it because it's words that help me to remember in a situation when things get sticky or I get boogered up a little bit or triggered or hurt or frustrated or irritated or something. Before I do anything, I've got my Martha Creek 3 Ps, which is pause, presence myself, and proceed. And others have said it as pause, pray, and then proceed. So that's the 3 Ps of Martha Creek. And I do my best to live into that because the more I do that, the more I pause, pray, presence myself, and then proceed, the better things go and the better I feel and the less erosion I have to my soul and to my relationships and to the people around me that matter to me. So once I pause, pray, presence myself, and proceed, then to be guided by these 8 Cs. So see how they may resonate with you, for example. A calmness. So think about somebody you know that you experience as they have this calmness, this energy of calmness about it. If even in intense situations or in sticky situations, tense situations, they have an ability to be calmer maybe than other people around. So a serenity regardless of the circumstances, an ability to respond instead of react, to be more responsive instead of so reactive, and certainly not as reactive to the reactions of others. So an ability to be less instinctual, less automatic, less knee jerky, less dramatic, less awfulizing in extreme ways. So a calmness, a serenity, regardless of the circumstances. So get a sense of what that would be like to live like that. And that's available as you, to you, for you, with you. Pardon me. And the second C then is clarity. Clarity. I remember 20 years ago when I first got into prayer as a practice and spiritual mind treatments and all of this, I prayed and prayed and prayed for clarity, 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 clarity. So our high self is clear. The ability we have to perceive situations accurately from a higher perspective, with less distortion, with less dramatization, with less meaning making, with less interpretation. So, an ability to perceive situations, um, stepping back a little bit from extreme beliefs and certainly from emotions and a big intense emotions that we might be under. So, the ability to maintain some objectivity and to not become subjective to the situation. The ability to stay more objective instead of more subjected to any situation or circumstances. And an ability to recognize that we have bias, that we have preconceived notions, and then to know then with that bias, I'm going to have to unhook from certain things and back up from it and get whatever Eric Butterworth, a renowned Unity author and speaker minister, would say, I've got to back up from this and I've got to see this more rightly. I've got to see this from a higher perspective. I'm down in the weeds on it instead, so I won't have the clarity. One of my coaches used to say, it's like we're trying to drive in fog. And when I'm not clear, when the fog is over me, a mental fog or an emotional fog, I've got to just turn on those different kind of lights and know I've just got to see 3 feet in front of me right now. I've got to see what would be the next sane step, not what's way down the road from here or what's around the curve from here, but what's in my next view. What is these next 3 feet in front of me? And what would be a sane, sensible thing to do in this situation, and to keep the clarity then to recognize that I've got to seek a deeper understanding about this, that there's more to it than meets the eye. And there's more to it. If I could just see through the fog, or when the fog lifts, I'll have a deeper understanding of this. The third one is curiosity. Now, I love the word. I think it's a superpower. I think all of these are superpowers, but this one is especially meaningful to me because I have got a value I have set and declared myself as one of my core values for living and being and expressing, to keep a sense of curiosity about me. A strong desire to know more, a strong desire to learn something new about any topic, about a situation, about a person, in a I will say non-judgmental way, but non-judging is not possible. Only dead people are the non-judgmental ones. So a less judgmental way, a strong desire to know and learn something new about a topic, a situation, or a person in a less judgmental way. And my best part about curiosity is to keep a sense of wonder about the world, a sense of awe about the world and how things work and the miracle of it all. So, how to keep a sense of intrigue, even when things are not going my way, not to lose my sense of wonder. Like, oh my gosh, I got so caught up in this, and I forgot that we're a little dot on a big planet in another big billions of galaxies spinning round and round, rotating and turning sideways on an axis and floating into space, tethered to nothing. So I can't be too caught up in the seriousness of things if I back up and regain my sense of wonder about all the world. How a flower comes out of a bulb, how a little seed makes it through the winter, that after the winter becomes the rose. So a curiosity about how all of this, the mystery of how it all works. The fourth one is compassion. The fourth C is compassion. So to be open-heartedly present to myself, to all of my parts, to myself, genuinely appreciative of myself and all my parts, even when they are at war with each other or nitpicking or critical or fault finding or whatever, to keep some kind of open-hearted, compassionate presence and appreciation of all my parts. And to the degree that I can do that, I'm more apt then to extend a compassion out to others, a compassion and appreciation of others. And this comes with true compassion, includes without trying to fix them, without trying to change them, without distancing from them, without shutting my heart down to them, with less judgment about them, and less trying to straighten them out or get them on the Martha Creek high righteous way of being. So an kinder, more open-hearted presence and appreciation of others and myself as I am in all of my humanness. Compassion also has an element of intuitive understanding, a deep intuitive understanding that the burdens and the suffering of others affect me, that I am in connection with them, that we have a connectedness to one another. And that if you believe in quantum theory and what unity teaches, then there's nothing that affects one part of us without affecting the whole of us. So it's a deep understanding that the burdens and suffering of others also affect us because of our connectedness, our human heartstrings, and to be very mindful that I can't absorb the suffering of others. I can't absorb and take responsibility for all the burdens of the world. I can share them. Of course, I can share them, and I'm affected by them. And I've got to be sure that the burdens don't step in there and start to lead me. I've got to keep a compassionate, open hearted appreciation and understanding of this, to accept things I cannot change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The fifth C is confidence. I would lead and express with more confidence. Faith is a sister to this, a cousin of this for me, that I'm able to maintain an ability to stay more fully present in tense situations, in dire news, or kind of boogery circumstances, and know that even though this is treacherous, this is tense, that I'm also equipped to effectively handle this. That I'm equipped and further equipping myself to effectively handle whatever comes my way, to then be an agent for restoration, for reconciliation, for repair to anything that happens. And confidence in to have an internalized, an embodiment of the growth that comes from all the work I've done previously, for all the practices I have in place that I actually apply, and that regardless of what's happened in my life up until now, my own direct experience of what's happened, but the direct experience I have in witnessing and pastoring and ministering to others, that I have a direct experience, an internalized embodiment of that growth that comes from that, from regardless of what happened, that I was equipped to deal with that, to be with that. It also includes to understand that life and learning, my human learning processes, includes making some mistakes. That it's going to be, it's how we learn. We're in a laboratory here, and it's accepting that and allowing that to be part of this process. So even though with mistakes, with false starts, with it not turning out the way I liked or what I had in mind, that I'm not going to entirely leave or lose the confidence that I have from knowing that I made it so far in this life, that I have some tools, I have some resources, and I have some confidence that can go with that. That regardless of what comes across, I am equipped humanly and divinely to navigate that. Number 6 is courage. Courage. The strength in the face of an imagined threat, strength in the face of an actual threat or a challenge or a danger, that even though that is present, that we've got some courage and ability to take action toward a goal that matters to us. And for me, courage is so important to remember, that I cannot move toward my goals without first moving toward my soul. So strength from my soul that helps me to take action toward a goal. And the courage to do it, even if it would not be popular for some, that I've got to do it in my own integrity. I may even take on goals at times that would scare other people or that others would find overwhelming. And it's like, it's not a daring like that, but it's from a place of confidence that says, it doesn't even make sense to some, but I'm going to take complete responsibility for my actions. I can take complete responsibility for my decision, my discernment, and what I'm going to do. I will also take responsibility to make amends, or to make statements of error or regret, or apology when necessary to correct my own errors, and as I take responsibility for them, knowing that they won't always produce the outcome that I had in mind. And for me, the real crux of courage is the willingness to reflect upon my own inner world, the willingness to turn over the logs of my consciousness, to take deep dives into my psyche, and just turn those logs over, turn those rocks over, and see what little creepy crawler worms and snakes are in there that I have suppressed, depressed, disowned, and denied up until now. So it takes real courage to actually reflect upon our inner world, our hurts, our unresolved, the things we've shut down and turned away from and denied, but to really reflect upon that and to explore one's inner world is the epitome of courage. And the Course in Miracles says, it's not a matter of if we'll do it, just when. So I know for me, I take it seriously and I keep my courage cared for. And day after day after day, literally day after day, I am willing to reflect upon and explore my inner world, including the boogers and including the things I've not been proud of, and including ways that I've not been differentiated up until now, out of my own patterning, out of the legacy burdens of the culture, of the family, what I have in my own bones and blood. And even in all of that, I'm going to keep looking. The seventh one is creativity, the use of our imagination. The use of our imagination, our basic unity principle, to create an experience to be co-creative, to experience the world in a way that I want to. The use of my imagination to produce an outcome from an original idea. The ability to enter into the flow, to be more in the flow state, in which expression spontaneously flows out of me, and that then I am more immersed in the flow of life, much more in the pleasure of an activity instead of the drudgery of an activity. So think about when you've been in a creative state, you might have been painting or writing music or listening to music or having just fun with friends or colleagues where time collapsed. You weren't aware anymore of the time or how much time you'd been spending in there. I think about it as I have time with Hadeline, how we get immersed in something that we're having fun with and kind of lose track of the time, and what it's like to just have the pleasure of an activity, the creativity, to be in the flow state, the use of our imagination, which is also the ability then to create generative outcomes, generative learning, generative solutions to problems, and to do this alone at times, and to be able to do it innovatively and collaboratively in my family, on teams, on boards, everywhere I'm serving, to use my creativity as a part of a larger creativity. And I say that together we can do what cannot be done alone. Together we can do what cannot be done alone. And then the 8C is connectedness. The connectedness, the state of feeling and knowing beyond knowing, the state of certainty, a state of being and feeling and knowing that we're part of a larger entity. We're part of something much larger than our bodies, much larger than our marriages, much larger than our families, much larger than our corporations, our office places, our teams, our communities, our spiritual centers, our organizations, something much bigger than that. Connectedness, the ability to draw on that connectedness to the degree that we can relax a little, take a big out breath, something that would let our defenses relax a little, let our defensiveness with others pull back a little, connectedness. Like I did another talk recently that I called MGI. I'm going to make the most generous interpretation of their action I can. So if I'm in connectedness, I'm not going to be as quickly offended. And if I'm in connectedness, I'm not going to be an injustice collector. I'm going to be assuming that there's something going on with them. They're not showing up as their highest self here. I don't know their circumstances. I've not walked in their shoes. But I'm going to give some grace here. And I'll be able to do that better when I'm in a deep state of connectedness. Also, connectedness to have our spiritual community, to be connected to somebody, people we know that are praying for us, are holding us in high regard, uplifting our struggles, uplifting our prayers, uplifting our successes. And science has proven, you can read all about this, that people that are part of a spiritual community do better. They have more longevity. They have an uncommon well-being way into the ages. So that's why I say about unity, we're getting older and older. We're also getting newer and newer. So this connectedness to a spirituality, spiritual practices, spiritual community that helps us deal with reality and helps us deal with reality in a way that transcends the circumstances, that transcends the physical. So calmer, clearer, curious, compassionate, confident, courageous, creative, connected. So be it. So be it. Right here and right now. All blessings to you as you lead from your highest self. And I commit to stay the course with this. MarthaCreek.com to contact me. All blessings. Much love to you.